And welcome to week 32 of From Belly to Baby. I think it's 33. Now I can't keep track. Every week I've been like, oh, I'm so many weeks, and then I keep adding a week. But I think now it's officially at 33. 33 going on 34. Which means that we're at the point where it's time to start talking about what's going to happen with this kid once it's on the outside. A couple of weeks ago, we were visiting with a newborn medicine specialist about the things that happen in the delivery room. And now we are here at Safety Stop in St. Louis Children's Hospital to talk a little bit more about what happens once you're actually sent home from the hospital. I'm told that happens with the baby. And I'm very excited to have Libby with us today. You're a community education instructor with St. Louis Children's Hospital. Child safety expert, guru, all of these things. We give you new titles every day. But we are standing very Vanna-like in front of our car seat display at the moment at Safety Stop. And so we'll start a little bit. Libby, tell us a little bit about what you do at Safety Stop and the families that you see here.
So Safety Stop is an appointment-based education center. A lot of people think that we're a store because we sell things, which we do as a convenience to family, but really we're all about educating families and kind of giving them that confidence to take care of their babies. So we do helmet fittings here, which newborns a little too small for that.
Yes.
We teach about home safety as well as swaddling, safe sleep, which we'll talk about. But our main thing is car seats. And what we do is we will teach parents whether they have their own car seat or if they choose to purchase from us. We'll teach them how to install, how to properly use, and how to harness their child in. And just giving them those skill sets to continue and be ready for when baby comes home.
Terrific. And you're welcome to obviously ask questions as we go through the next several minutes, maybe up to the hour, with our multiple guests today. We have Libby we're starting with, and then we have another newborn medicine physician, Dr. Colvin, who is a mom of 4, who is going to take us through all kinds of things, from feeding the baby, to bathing the baby, to swaddling the baby, and to safe sleep. So we'll get to all of that in just a minute, but we're going to start with car seats. And we'll just talk, first of all, let's stay in here for a minute. We're going to take you outside for a second, too. First of all, Safety Stop is by appointment only. So anybody, it's a resource to anyone in the community.
Anybody,
314-454-KIDS, which is 5437 is kids. You can call and make an appointment. But Libby, tell us a little bit about what an appointment looks like.
So with an appointment, if we're talking car seat appointments, what happens, we have 4 different locations. We have one at this hospital, we have one at the Specialty Care Center, one at the Magic House, and then one also over at Progress West Hospital. So when you call, you'll kind of talk about which one is more convenient to your specific location. Talking about this one specifically, you'll pull up to the second floor of the garage. We'll come out and meet you at your car, kind of see what's going on, what car seats we're dealing with, whatever. We'll come inside and have our consultation. We'll have you fill out some paperwork. We also are grant-based. We're funded through our foundation, so we're really evidence-based in that we want to make sure that we're actually teaching you guys and you're learning something. So we do have a little bit of a pre-test for you guys to fill out. So a lot of people are scared.
There's a test right now, I'm really nervous. I was saying earlier, I went into this thinking, I'm older, having my first kid. All my friends have done it. I've seen it all before. And as all of you have seen, I've been a little bewildered every single week by something, and this week is no different. So you have a little pre-test.
We do, and some parents, they are terrified of it, and we'll still let you take home the baby. It's okay, it's fine. And some parents love to make it a competition. So one, maybe the mom will do it, and then the dad, or whatever, and then they'll compete and see who did better, or whatever.
Good to know.
Yeah, we'll go over those, and then I like to talk about your car seat, how to harness the baby in, different features. It's very hands-on, so I want the parents to do it as well, just so you can kind of get a chance of putting a baby in a seat, as opposed to just the very first time you're at the hospital. After that, we do have a demo seat in here that I like to show parents the different methods of installation, and I'll show them how to do it, and then we go out to the car, and that's their time to shine. I let them install it, but I double-check it and talk them through it the whole time, answering any questions.
Which is really important, because I don't think people realize the volume of car seats that are not properly installed. And it's a pretty high percentage.
It is. 80% of cars our car seats are either used incorrectly or installed incorrectly. Use could be how they're harnessed, or even just the wrong seat in general.
Okay, so we'll go over the different kinds of seats and do some basics about how to put the baby in the seat and harness it correctly. But obviously make an appointment if you have any questions. So we do have one question right now. I don't know that I warned you beforehand that we take live questions. So
sorry, we're good.
We'll see how you do on the spot. It's our test for you.
Jocelyn wants to know if grandparents can make an appointment to learn about car seats and installation.
Definitely. We always encourage grandparents to come in. You know, you guys need to know how to use the seats too and how to install. And I have a couple grandparents who come in and they're really scared. Once I tell them they'll be installing their seat, they're like, oh, no. But I show them a lot of tricks, and it's not hard. We can make it so that it's easy for you guys and that you'll be able to do it. And just being able to harness the baby in is really important, too.
It's important to note, too, things have changed a lot
since
definitely. Our parents were parents. So we have the benefit of a lot more information now, and so it's nice to have everybody in the family brought up to speed on the safest practices.
Definitely.
So there are a couple of different kinds of seats you can get, and you can bring in your own seat, or you can purchase here at cost, because these are all subsidized by the foundation, as well as the Children's Hospital Foundation. So donations help keep it cost effective here. So you're talking about how much for?
So this one, the infant carrier, we sell for $68, and then this is one of our convertibles, and we sell one for $48, and then this one is $61.
Okay.
So sometimes parents will come getting, two of those, one for each car, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is cheaper than one at the store. So we are a good secret with that. So.
Yes. And so once you have this, talk a little bit about just kind of what you would do in a normal appointment. We have our baby friend here.
Yes. Got our baby.
So we have an infant. And so is it first learn about harnessing, or how do you do that?
Yeah, so we have them do their pretest, and then I will show them harnessing, as well as different features of their seat. This one doesn't really have a whole bunch of bells and whistles, but one that a family would bring in, maybe it has an infant insert and has specific rules as to when it needs to come out, or when.
I know, not with an egg. Sorry, excuse me. I will not hold a real baby like this. I promise.
So I just go over their specific seat with them. I have handouts for each one, kind of being like, hey, this is your seat. These are special little things for it. But just going over different features and any questions.
Okay, and then as far as harnessing goes, let's take a look at what baby looks like in the seat.
Definitely.
And just some basic tips and reminders for parents out there who may have already had theirs installed.
Yeah. So with the baby, we want to have it so their back is all the way to the back of the seat, sitting as upright as we can. Now this is very important. You just bring the arms through. You don't really do anything with the legs, so just let that be.
And it's also important to note, and I know we're in the heat of summer here, so it's not a big joke, but no winter coats on.
No winter coats. Yeah. What they do is they kind of compress in a crash, leaving the harness a lot further away than you originally intended. Baby's not going to stay in the seat then, So buckling up everything. And when I said that we kind of ignore the legs, it's because these rest on top of the legs.
Okay.
All right. Now, after we've buckled it up, you'll notice it's loose up here, but it's also loose down here by the hips. A lot of people overlook that. To fix that, what you'll do is push this clip down, and as you're pushing down, you'll pull up, making it nice and snug around the hips, but also so that all of the slack is now above this chest clip.
Okay.
All right? After we've gotten all the slack up there, I'll pull on this loop, and every car seat is different. Some of them you do it from the back, some from the front. A lot of them you'll see with the strap up here. You'll pull it and get it nice and snug. You can see it's tightening from the shoulders. That's why I wanted all that slack up there. Once I've gotten it fairly snug, I'll then shimmy this on up to the armpit level, just like I'm tickling the baby. That's so that if you're in a crash, it's sitting on top of the breastplate, not the belly.
Sure.
After that, I want to make sure that I can only slide one finger underneath, not two stacked, and I also don't want to be able to pinch any extra fabric.
Okay.
If I can do that, I would just tighten it up. Oops, sorry.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, baby.
In a car, it won't do that. We're on a flat surface. So yeah, you just get it nice and snug. Just one finger.
Okay.
And that's how baby should always look. We don't want to have any pillows or anything that didn't come with your seat. So if it doesn't have any, baby's fine. This is a perfectly natural position for the head to be in. We just want to avoid the chin to chest like that. Okay. But if you get your car seat installed correctly, then we make sure that that level is where we need it so that you don't have to worry about that position.
Gotcha. And is there an advantage to convertible versus carrier?
So with the convertibles, the advantage to that is that it's going to last a long time. And so with that, you can go all the way to about 4, maybe 5 years, because it does rear facing and forward facing. So that's kind of a good thing. The only thing about the convertible that's not so great is that you can't take it out of the car.
Okay.
So it pretty much stays in there.
Well, and these a lot of times come with stroller inserts.
Right.
So you can plop them right back
Exactly.
down.
I would say maybe about a third of our families will go to a convertible at first. Most families will choose the infant carrier because, like you said,
it comes with a base.
right,
Yeah.
it goes into the stroller. This stays in the car the entire time. So if it's raining or something, you don't have to worry about installing. Just pop the baby in, and the baby's already harnessed in there for you.
Oh, terrific. That's
Yeah.
really nice. And then this is how I'm sure I can't understand how any mother wouldn't have the most outrageous arms. Because
Yeah, I know.
it seems like these things are so stinking heavy. So, all right, terrific. Well, we are going to do one other thing.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick look outside and at Safety Stop, and then we will send you back to meeting with families.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
We'll pick up with Dr. Colvin. We do
One
have one
quick
more question.
Yeah,
Okay.
Sheila wants to know, she says her 3-year-old is still small enough in weight to sit backwards, but lengthwise her legs are scrunched. So what way should she be placed?
So kids will typically outgrow rear facing by height way before weight. By height, they're going to outgrow it when there's less than an inch between the top of the head and the top of the seat. So typically, I mean, we're looking at 3 to 4 years. Every car seat's different. We do want them to be rear facing until at least 2 years old. Legs, you really don't have to worry about. They're going to get scrunched up. You want to make sure with that height.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. We should tell you we're in the active Safety Stop. So we did block off the hour, but we've got people who are stopping in to say hello and to get some advice. So we're going to take a look real quick. And if you want to visit Safety Stop, where to come, because we know the hospital can be kind of intimidating if you haven't been down here. And even if you have, Jenny behind the camera, who is a real person again, was talking about how you can come down here 1,000 times and never have seen it. So, all right. Well, we'll step outside real quick, and then we'll swing back in. So this is on, we are on the second floor of St. Louis Children's Hospital's parking garage. And you will see if you pull in and come up to the second floor, we are at the Safety Stop location. And it's loud.
Yeah, so over here, we've got barriers to make sure that no cars can interfere whenever we're in the middle of our consultations. What families do is they'll pull up at that far barrier. I'll see them through my window. I'll go out and open it up, and then you'll just park right in there. So it makes it really convenient. We're steps away from our office, so it's all in one general location.
And you come out here and work in the cars.
Yes, yeah. So we'll work in the cars. Like I said, we'll go inside and do most of our work inside with teaching. It's just a lot easier to see. And then when we get out, that's the parents' time to shine and show us what they learned.
All right, we'll remind people one more time, by appointment only, 314-454-KIDS. So 314-454-5437, option
3. Option number 3.
Okay, option number 3.
Yep.
And Libby is here full time at the Safety Stop location at St. Louis Children's Hospital. We have another location at the Specialty Care Center at Mason and 40. Another location at the Magic House.
Yes.
And there's one
Progress
other.
West
Thank you. I was going to
Hospital.
say it begins with a P
Yep.
and it's not Parkway. I can't quite come up with what it is.
So over in O'Fallon. So we're all over the location. So whatever works best for families, we're here.
All right, terrific. Well, let's swing back inside. We had some visitors to Safety Stop a second ago, so we'll just curve right back around and see if we can make sure that everybody has a little bit of room here. Perfect. Well, we'll go and grab our baby out of its harness over here. I think. Sorry, I'm going to wave goodbye to Libby from here and pull Dr. Colvin in. Sorry. So Dr. Colvin is our resident expert, newborn medicine specialist, but in addition to that, a real expert because she is a mom of how many?
4.
Ages?
Oh gosh, 8, 5, 3, and almost 6 months.
Oh my gosh, very exciting. Yes, very busy. And right now that sounds like a whole lot of kids. So exciting that you're here to join us and talk a little bit about all of those things that come with bringing a newborn home from the hospital. So we're going to talk about feeding the baby, about bathing the baby, swaddling, clothing, and safe sleep finally. So we'll take our little friend out of his harness. And actually, I'll let you do this because I'm sure there's a proper way to do it.
I want you to do it.
I want me to do it. Okay, so
It's not that hard.
You just unclip, you start at the chest.
Push.
The pressure.
I know. So
it, am I pushing it?
Push and then pull across.
Okay. I just bruised my baby.
You're fine. They balance. It's okay.
I was going to say, you promise they'll send it home from the hospital with me? Okay. They're just going to pull this video right back up. So then you take it out like so.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Child looks undamaged.
Very good.
Out you go. All right. Still intact. We're good. Okay, so we're going to take our baby now that we've gotten to where we're going. Let's say we have a fussy baby who needs to eat. So let's wander over to our feeding and diapering station here. All right, so we have all kinds of stuff here. Now, when baby first arrives, I mean, I've had many people ask my husband and myself, are you ready? Like, I don't know, we have diapers, we have wipes, we have a bassinet or something like that. What else do we, and a car seat. We do have a car seat. Like, what else do we absolutely need?
Right.
And there isn't a ton that you need, but there are a lot of things that you suggest that make life a little bit easier.
Right.
So let's talk first about feeding the baby.
Right. So I think the first thing that we talk about is, are you going to formula feed or breastfeed your baby? We always recommend breastfeeding. The term breast is best, but formula is not a bad option if that's your choice. When we talk about breastfeeding, there are a few things for a new breastfeeding mom that you would need. Things like nursing pads that we have over here.
And you're going to have to go through what some of the stuff is and
okay.
why you have it, because I was going through the store aisle this morning and I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm leaving with a huge bag.
So you bought the best brand, I think. I have been through several different kinds. This is Lansinoh Nursing Pad. And the reason you get this is because when you're breastfeeding, sometimes you leak before feeding, after feeding. While you're feeding, the other side will leak and you don't want it to be all over your clothes. Some women don't need these, but it's best to start out having a supply before you find that you need one when you don't have it. Lanolin is for comfort, because I will tell you right now, breastfeeding hurts. It doesn't hurt after the first couple of weeks, but getting your nipples to be less sensitive to feeding the baby takes a little bit of time, and the lanolin really helps to reduce the discomfort and helps with healing when you have like cracked or sore nipples.
And a friend of mine was telling me, I think it's just important to note, we were talking a little bit about laundry issues earlier, and we'll talk more about them in a little bit, but she was joking about her husband's favorite t-shirt. She's like, he has 2 spots now on his favorite t-shirt. So it's not so much wearable, this stuff stains.
This is grease, yes. This is why you use a nursing pad with it, because then it goes onto the nursing pad and not onto your clothing.
Gotcha.
Other things that are really important if you're nursing, so you need a nursing bra, so you can easily, have access to feed the baby.
And they make specific nursing bras. There are also stores that, I mean, I know that, and we are not brand specific or anything around here necessarily, other than to say what favorites are, but I know that Nordstrom does, I mean, for I think it's $16, I'm not sure, but they said they'll convert a bra into
that's
a
awesome.
nursing bra. Yeah,
That's
so that was
cool.
a fun tip I got early on that I thought, well, that's good to know, because I know a lot of people struggle to find the right fit or something that they like.
No, and I struggled with that through 4 children. I found one that I like, but every mom is different. Lots of OBs will recommend against getting an underwire bra just to prevent like mastitis or clogged ducts, things like that. So it's something to consider when you do get a nursing bra.
And mastitis is?
Mastitis is an infection of the breast tissue, and basically what happens is that you get milk that gets stuck in there and then it gets infected. And it is very, very uncomfortable and can make you very sick. So you want to avoid that if at all possible. I will say it is treatable, obviously, but it makes you feel really, really poorly.
And then if that's an issue with moms, they know we've talked in the past about whether you go to your OB or pediatrician with questions afterwards.
Your
OB
anything for you, you go to your OB.
Okay.
And then anything for baby, obviously, you would go to your pediatrician. And specifically with breastfeeding issues, you want to contact a lactation consultant. And they have those here. They have in Missouri Baptist. Pretty much any hospital where they deliver babies will also have a lactation consultant.
And just in the handoff, I don't think we ever clarified exactly. You are a neonatologist at St. Louis Children's Hospital with Women and Infants program. So you're a WashU physician with the program here, and are primarily located on our Central West End campus.
Correct.
So those brand new fancy buildings, you'll have some extra space here very soon, which is really nice.
Very exciting. Right.
All right. So then, in addition to these 2 items, this is not something you gave me, but it's something that came up. I'm going to knock over our bottle brush, so I'm going to take that down right now. Yeah. This is something that came up last time. That I don't know if you can speak to these.
Yes,
all right.
These are great. So they will have something like this. This is Comfort Gel. This is just their hydrogel pads. They're cooling and comforting. Again, sore, cracked nipples, that kind of thing. They have these at the hospital if you need them also. When you're in.
These were at Barnes Jewish when they were talking to us last week. They stashed a couple
These are
of
great.
these in my
You can
bag.
buy them in the store. They're really expensive in the store, so it's nice if you get them at the hospital before you go. And again, these are something you probably will only need for the first week to 2 weeks postpartum, but these are absolutely great to have on hand.
I will say it's never pleasant to hear that things are going to be painful, but at the same time, it is really reassuring to know that it's you can do anything for a couple of weeks, right?
Right.
Okay. And you've proven that a few times so far.
Once or twice, or 4.
Yes. And then if you wind up choosing to go the whether it's choosing or if you wind up going the formula route because that's just healthiest for you and for baby, is there something to keep in mind that you need to have on hand whenever you bring baby home from the hospital? A certain kind that you recommend, ingredients you'd avoid?
Right. So I mean,
this is from our NICU. By
yeah.
the way. So this is already mixed up and it's just a screw top.
So the ready to feed are really convenient. That's what these are. They're little nursettes that come in tiny little bottles that have 2 ounces. And most newborns will start out taking about 2 ounces when they go home from the hospital, or 1 to 2 ounces per feeding. The kind of formula you get doesn't really matter. I always think it's best to start out with like the plain Jane brand or the plain Jane type. So Enfamil Premium would be your standard newborn formula. They also have an Enfamil Newborn that also has a little bit extra vitamin D. And Similac has a similar product. Really, all of the different brands have similar products. I would recommend talking to your pediatrician if you're considering formula changes, and knowing that, you know, anytime you have to change a formula, you need a good probably week or 2 weeks before your baby gets used to it to know if that's, you know, the desired effect is what you're looking for.
And then as far as bottles go, there are a couple of different kinds. This is the kind that you just put a disposable nipple on. And then this one, it honestly was a freebie that I got in some kit. But are there brands that you look out for, or is it just every baby's a little bit different?
Every baby's different. So you got to figure out what your baby likes.
So don't buy the giant set of really fancy, expensive ones until you know what the kid likes. And that's whether you're nursing or formula feeding.
Right. And obviously, all of my babies have had bottles because obviously they cannot come to work with me and they need to eat every 3 hours. So I am very fortunate in that all 4 of my children have taken well to the bottle we happen to buy. We use the Pretest drop-ins with ours with just a standard silicone nipple, and so that's a very standard setup and worked well for my kids. But there are plenty of people out there that they buy one of each along the aisle and try to figure out which one their baby likes. Dr. Brown's is a very popular brand when you're having feeding troubles, and that works really well for a lot of babies, especially our NICU babies that have feeding difficulties. But I will not say that there is one bottle that is magic for all babies because that's absolutely not true. It really depends on the baby. So.
Which is both good news and bad news at the same time. And then now this fancy dongle is really exciting. So it's just a bottle brush, but it has, it looks like your standard dish brush, but with a whole lot more angles. Right. So why do you need something so specific? Is it just to get nooks and crannies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and this is actually really important if you end up pumping, to have something like this so you can get the nooks and crannies, because milk gets everywhere, and if you don't clean it adequately, it gets gross. Yeah, it's gross. So getting into these small holes, it's important to have a bottle brush that can get down in there for that. It looks like this thing probably pops off, so you can
we could open this. I don't know why I have it still in the container, but
that's fine.
It's but it does get in something. And one of my friends said, is there like, if it's 4 pieces, it will feel like 20.
Right.
So
that's very true. Also, that's very true.
And do you have to hand wash everything, or I think there's some that you can throw in the dishwasher?
It depends. Like pump parts, I would not throw in the dishwasher, but a lot of bottles, they'll tell you in the packaging if their dishwasher is safe or not. But most everything gets hand washed, so it's important to have a place to put it. As long as you have like a dish rack, that's probably adequate. But there are companies that make like the cutesy ones that look like grass and flowers and stuff like that.
There are stores dedicated to babies for a reason, I learned today. There is so much stuff. I think all of the parents in my life have just been giggling every time I've talked to them. I'm like, my car is loaded. I don't even know what I got, but it is full of stuff right now. And then the other thing, they talk about protecting your clothes, just some standard burp cloths.
Yes, any kind are fine. These are pretty fancy and very neat. They go around the baby.
Closest to the aisle, and closest to the checkout line. I'm not gonna lie.
We have always used just actually cloth diapers, and that's worked beautifully. But just something to go underneath the baby's chin, because babies are messy and you don't want to get milk all over yourself while you're feeding the baby. So anything is fine. They also barf. It's normal. They barf a lot. It's normal. It's just nice to have something to clean it up with rather than your clothing.
do you notice a distinct difference between how you were, even as a physician who knew all of this intellectually going into parenthood, what you found bewildering for your first child versus your fourth?
You care a lot less. It's not that you don't care. It's you're
less worried.
You're less worried. You're less concerned. Like, oh, my fourth one is actually the only one who's been a big spitter. But we're like, she barfed. Oh well. I know a lot of new parents will be like, oh my gosh, they barfed. What do I do? And you clean it up.
You clean it up.
And then you feed the baby.
It's a lot of cleaning and feeding for those first few months.
Absolutely.
And speaking of cleaning and of feeding and cleaning, you then are talking about diapers. So you always have the option disposable or not.
Yeah.
I know probably given lifestyle and work and all of that, it's oftentimes easier to go disposable, but is there one option over the other that you prefer?
For our family, it was right to do disposable. Mostly, my husband stays at home, so I gave him the option. Do you want to do disposable or cloth? And he said disposable. I'm like, that's fine. Whatever makes you happy. But that being said, a lot of my physician friends do cloth at home. If you do cloth at home, there are lots of different choices. It can be expensive on the front end, just to buy all the supplies, because obviously they're more expensive than a 20-cent diaper. But I think long term it does save you money. I will recommend trying to set up like a little hand washer attached to your toilet, because that makes cleanup a lot easier, and they're actually fairly easy to install, and there's like videos you can watch on YouTube to help you get that set up.
And when it comes to bringing a newborn home and diaper supply, how many do you need?
Okay, so that's going to be challenging, right? Because it depends on the size of your baby.
Okay.
So if you have an almost 10-pound baby, which we did with our third, these are completely useless because they are size newborn.
Yes.
And he has already outgrown them. So I unless you know for sure if your baby's going to be big or small, don't get a ton in the tiniest size, because they grow out of these pretty quickly. Okay. Because remember, your baby's going to be growing about an ounce a day, so within 2 weeks they're a pound bigger than they were when you came home. So that can be challenging with buying diaper sizes. So we bought plug-in for Amazon Mom. So we bought a box, a big jumbo box of size 1 diapers to have at home, and then we brought home a decent amount of newborns for our last one to use until she was big enough to be in the size 1s, and we ended up buying like one more little package of newborns before we ran out of what we had from the hospital. Okay. So you want to have probably, at least a couple packages of these to come home with, because every time you feed your baby, so 8 times a day, you're going to change your diaper. So about 8 diapers a day to start out with. So something like this will last you 4 days.
Oh my gosh, wow, okay. So it's every time you feed them, you change them?
Yes.
Sorry, that's probably something everybody out there is rolling their eyes at, but I didn't realize that was the routine.
They're probably going to poop every time you feed them to start out with. And that eventually dwindles down to like once or twice a day, but for most babies. But to start out with, they're probably going to poop every single time you feed them, and then you change their diaper, and then you feed them again, and then they poop, and then you change their diaper, and you feed them again.
And you were dropping some mom knowledge earlier that I think is very important and valuable to share about getting those stains out of that. It does stain.
Yes. No, baby poop stains. And like shout, the normal stuff does not cut it. I found that using the Dreft spray, which is hard to find, you can find it at Bye Bye Baby and at Babies R Us, but I think that that's probably the best product to get out baby poop stains.
Yes. I think that's just an important, it's not necessarily a plug, it's just an important salvation advice for anyone. And then wipes, you said there's nothing special about any kind of wipe.
You can also get big boxes of wipes on Amazon Mom. Oh, also important, a big, like the big bulk boxes of diapers for each size will last a month. They're designed to last a month. So if you do subscribe and save on Amazon Mom, you get, you have to have Amazon Prime to sign up, but then you get 20% off of all diapers and wipes, which is actually a huge amount and probably the cheapest way to get diapers. Yeah. You can also buy wipes in bulk from Amazon. You can also do subscribe and save, again, 20% off. And then, you have your packages and you just fill them into your insert or diaper wipe warmer if you have one of those.
Terrific. All right. Well, our baby is fed. Our baby is changed. So and then you mentioned also, we're going to talk a little bit more about the umbilical cord with the bathing, but you had said care for the umbilical cord with the diaper. Right. So when you take the baby home, obviously there is, I'll let you take it from there because I'm going to phrase it all wrong.
So you have the umbilical cord still attached to the baby, and it's basically kind of this crusty piece of tissue that is essentially dying and necrotic and then will fall off. But until that happens, you want to keep it nice and clean and dry. And you want to watch and make sure there's no redness around there. There's probably going to be a little bit of redness, but if it starts getting like that beefy, infected-looking red, you need to call your pediatrician right away. But you don't want things to irritate it, because if it comes off too early, it can bleed a little bit, and that's not what you want. And the nurses will actually show you this in the hospital, because this is what they do about 75,000 times a day. But you'll basically just, you'll fold the diaper down and then put the sides on, and that's just to keep it low riding underneath the umbilical cord, so you're not irritating it and causing to fall off prematurely.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to take our baby over here for a bath. Excuse me. We're going to pass Libby in the background. She's here enjoying her real job as well. All right, so we have our little bathing station set up here, and I know that this can be really intimidating, especially for new babies.
Right.
They're not the sturdiest little things. They're durable, but they're not super sturdy. So what's the best way to bathe the baby?
So, and then you want to talk about what do you do with when the umbilical cord is still attached versus once it has, come off. So, when you come home from the hospital, your baby does not need a bath every day. Every 2 to 3 days is fine. And when they first come home, you're not going to be able to submerge your baby just because of that umbilical cord still being attached. So the best way, I think, is to do it in the sink, with the overhead spray. And what you're going to do is you're going to try and keep the baby as covered as possible at all times to prevent the baby from getting cold. Because when they first come home from the hospital, they still are very prone to losing a lot of body heat and getting cold very quickly. So usually what I do is, or what I have done, is that I would, you have your baby on the counter, and you're going to take your washcloth. Johnson's is perfect. You're going to get your washcloth nice and warm. You're going to have your towel all laid out, and you're going to just get your washcloth nice and soapy.
Okay. So we'll lay we are limited space here, but we'll lay this out.
So, baby's going to be on your counter. You're just going to use your washcloth to, wipe the arms down underneath the arms, and especially underneath the neck, and making sure you really lift that chin, because the babies always have a lot of neck folds. And you want to make sure you get any leftover barf or little lint and things like that out from under there, because that's gross. So you're washing your baby's arms, legs, everywhere, back, and then you're gonna rinse it out, get nice warm water, and then you're going to get off all the soap. You're also going to make sure you get the face as well.
So this is on the towel, not in the sink.
On the towel. On the towel. And again, this is when your baby's umbilical cord is still attached. After you have done all of that, your baby is going to get wrapped up in your nice warm blanket. It doesn't have to be pre-warm, but because it's warm, because then your baby's not losing as much heat. And you're going to take the baby, and you're going to hold, towel underneath to get the hair. Now, I will say this is more trouble for some babies than others. My babies have all had a lot of hair, and they get barf in their hair. So you have to wash their hair. So what you're going to do again is just, exactly. It's a lot like college, lots of barfing. So you're going to, again, just take your shampoo, nice and scrubbing. They also tend to get, essentially like baby dandruff, so you want to do a nice gentle scrub. Get all the way underneath, again, making sure you get the back, because again, that's where barf tends to hide, behind the ears, all the normal places, and then wash the baby's hair, or rinse the baby's hair off. Be very, very careful not to waterboard your baby, and make sure you have a good eye on where your water spout is going. If you do and it happens, it's fine. It's happened to me.
Don't waterboard your baby. That is the piece of advice everyone should take home today.
It's hard, because you're like 3 days postpartum, and your brain isn't always the clearest, and things happen. Your baby will be fine. But so rinse your baby's head off. Put your nice hat over, dry your baby's hair. You're good. Again, main focus is doing this quickly, keeping your baby warm, not letting them get too cold, especially if your baby's on the small side.
And we talked a little bit earlier about these specialty products that are designed for new babies, and they make life easier, but they are not necessary. You said plain old washcloths and towels, as long as they are washed properly,
perfectly fine,
are fine to use.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
And then the baby bathtub comes into play at what point?
Once your umbilical cord falls off.
Okay.
Or the baby's.
And remind us when that happens typically?
It's usually within the first 2 weeks. It can be as early as 3 to 4 days. But usually it's within the first couple of weeks. If you're getting past 3 to 4 weeks, you should probably call your pediatrician. To make sure there's not something else that's causing it to not fall off. And then that being said, and these are all different. They all will have bells and whistles. You can see on this one, you can take off this insert, and then there's a nice little seat for your baby once the baby is able to sit up, which are great.
Crazy. Okay.
Eventually you'll do that, and then it looks like this comes out, and then it's even bigger for when baby is bigger.
Oh, sorry.
That's
I try and be helpful. You've got a baby you're holding.
Yeah, I can multitask. So again, what you're going to do is, baby's going to go in here. Again, you're going to fill up your tub beforehand, make it warm, not too hot. And you want probably the water volume, you want to see it probably just peak up in this little basket portion, but you don't want it to be too high because then you'll just get water everywhere.
And sloshes.
So yeah, and your baby's going to be like, what's going on with me? Why are you doing this to me? But again, being quick, efficient, that kind of thing, make sure they don't get too cold. And again, you're going to do the same sort of thing. You're going to wash the body, legs, arms, making sure you get, armpits, groin, neck folds again, and then I like to do the shampoo last, and I just lift up shampoo. I still do mine in our sink. I bring down the baby tub, I put the baby tub in the sink, and I use the wand. So much faster that way and so convenient. But if your bathtub comes with things like this, I would probably actually just use a real
just use a plain tap.
Just because it's faster. But again, if your baby doesn't have a lot of hair, it's a lot easier to wash the soap off too.
Sure. All right, so we've got baby cleaned up. We're going to take baby over and get baby dressed now.
Yeah.
So what kind of clothes do you actually need? This has been so bewildering to me because I feel like, it was just saying, everybody asks, what do you have? And they give you darling things. All of this stuff has been generously gifted for the most part to us. I haven't bought a thing for myself yet because I'm just like, I don't know what they need.
Right, and I mean, they actually need very little. You're going to need like some amount of outfits, at least a dozen usually, because sometimes they can go through 3 and 4 outfits a day. And then sleepers are great because they keep babies warm. And again, summer versus winter is hard too, because when it's winter time, you probably want things that are more fleecy and warm, because probably your house is a little bit cooler, but in the summertime your house is warmer, so you want the thinner sleepers and outfits. But as far as like a number of things you need, it's hard to tell. It just it really depends on how much laundry you want to be doing.
And when you say outfits, are we just talking onesies, or is that it and that's it?
Onesies and pants together are great. It's nice to have things that go together because then it's like one set outfit and go. Cute outfits, plain old outfits, again, onesies. And in the summertime, sometimes there are babies that are kind of run hotter than other babies, so like just a onesie is a very realistic thing, especially in the summertime as well. Some families will do, an outfit for the day and then put them in the sleeper at nighttime. Completely unnecessary, but if you want to do it, go right ahead. It's just one more outfit change.
One more thing. Yeah. One more wardrobe change.
Some people leave babies in sleepers all day. That it does not matter. It's just whatever you want to do.
And I know the experienced moms in the house were saying you do like these with the sack at the bottom.
Yeah, those are so easy.
And is it just a matter of diaper changes, or is it?
Okay. It's diaper changing really that makes it nice and easy. These can be a little bit tougher to get them in just because you have to scrunch it all the way up to get it over baby's head. But they're really convenient for nighttime. Actually, my husband doesn't like them, but I like them.
Oh, funny.
So it just depends.
And then this is just a standard onesie.
Yep, very cute.
And then this one,
that's a sleeper.
You said it's a sleeper. Okay. And the only issue someone had brought up with this was that they like the fact that it zipped down to the bottom, but that there are no feet. So you then wind up having to put your socks on and hope that they don't kick them off.
And they almost always kick them off. And little babies, it's important to keep their feet warm because their feet will get pretty cold. And so socks always are a great thing. Once they get bigger, and especially in the summertime, socks are completely unimportant, and it's a great way to keep your baby cool when it's hot outside. But yeah, and so in a sleeper like this, you'd have to put socks on, and then the baby will kick out of them. And again, it's no big deal, but it's better to have their feet nice and warm.
And then the reason behind the hats and the mittens, even in the summer.
Right. So little babies, again, lose a significant portion of their body heat through their head. So if your baby has no hair, or if, your house is cool, you're going into a place where it's air conditioned, you want to make sure your baby has a hat on, especially in that first couple of months of life. Once they get bigger, it's less important, or if your baby has their own thermal support with a full head of hair, less important, but it's nice to have them around. And in the wintertime, every baby needs a hat while they're, trying to keep them warm, especially in those first few weeks.
And as far as sizes go, I know that my mother always said she never took a baby home from the hospital in newborn clothing. That was the last one came home 30-some odd years ago. So things have changed a little bit. But do you suggest investing maybe just in a couple of pieces for newborn, or 0 to 3? Is there a standard rule?
It really depends on the size of your baby. So again, I've had babies ranging from 6 pounds up to almost 10 pounds. So your baby that's going to be small, you're going to need a set of newborn clothes because those are designed for babies from 5 to 8 pounds. And then your 0 to 3 are from 8 pounds to 12 pounds. So a lot of babies can get away with just 0 to 3, but some babies you really need that newborn size for that 5 to 8 pound size. So if you know that your baby's running big, you want to avoid doing, a whole month's worth of newborn clothing when you're not going to use it.
Yeah. All right, terrific. And it should be noted too that a lot of this stuff is available at very reasonable prices. Simple stuff is pretty cheap. So, and it all adds up. That is the one thing that is amazing. Is they take it all through the cash or through the checkout, and it was pretty remarkable how quickly it added up. But we're going to talk now a little bit about swaddling and the 2 different options for swaddling. Right. Should we start with the more complicated version and then save the magic for last, or would you rather go the other way?
Whatever works for you.
All right, let's get the misery over with first, and then we'll come back to the easy one. Okay.
So this is just a muslin swaddling blanket. I will tell you right off the bat that these are terrible for real swaddling because there's not enough friction in the fabric to keep the baby swaddled. I discovered this the hard way with my second baby after using regular old cotton for the first one. So when you swaddle a baby, the first thing you want to do, get your blanket all unfurled, and then you want to make a nice triangle at the top. Doesn't matter which side, especially since most of these are square. But you want to make a nice, decent triangle about halfway down. You can see the middle of the fold is right there. Put it on a flat surface, doesn't matter where, as long as you're watching your baby and not letting your baby roll off that said flat surface.
All right. Don't let baby roll. Got it.
Right.
Head.
So shoulders need to go at the top of the line.
Okay.
And the easy way to remember this is this down, up, and I will tell you what that means. So you can start on either side. I always start on the baby's right side or my left. And you want to hold the arm down and cross the baby's chest to their opposite hip. And then you hold that down, or you want to tuck this under. I'm sorry, I'm trying to explain this. So you tuck this under the baby.
This is something you do so automatically that every time
don't
when
even
you explain
think about it. So you want to tuck that side under the baby. It's nice to make it flat just because it keeps everything tucked in. So that's down. And then you want to take the bottom. There's a quiz after this, Abby.
I'm studying right now. I'm staring intently at you.
You're holding the opposite arm down. You're folding it.
What are you doing the last week of August? Are you available?
I'll be in the special care nursery.
Oh, perfect.
And then, so that was your second up. And then you take the opposite side, fold it over to the opposite hip, hold this down, pull that other part of the triangle, and then go up again over that shoulder.
Oh my gosh, this is magic.
And then you will pull it around the baby, pull, and then you tuck it in. And there's your swaddle baby.
That is amazing. But it's not a squirming baby, which is amazing.
What makes it a lot more challenging if the baby is squirming and wiggling, which we do all the time at home. All right,
and
let's
then,
do it.
Oh, am I going to try this?
No, you're going to do it.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be dangerous. Okay, so we've got our little friend. He's shoulder in line with here, arm tucked down, go to hip.
And try to tuck it under, so
tuck it under.
Keep that arm down.
Okay. Oh, I'm choking my child. Excuse me. And then we take the bottom corner.
That's your first up.
And then it's up.
Yeah, and usually this part needs to be like folded, so let it go.
Okay.
And then just kind of put it over that arm.
Over the arm. Okay. So over the arm like so. And this is
that's fine, just
where
like
I lost
that.
you. All right. And then we go
this part.
This part. And take it
to the hip.
To the hip. Okay.
So then you're holding it here.
Okay.
And then you're pulling this corner. Up and over that shoulder.
And over that shoulder. All right.
And
I can
around.
see what you're talking about when you need something that has some stick to it. And then you tuck it in. Wow. It's a little baby burrito. And why is it, I mean, there's some science behind this whole swaddle thing and why it works. And it's the idea of, I mean, the baby is in pretty tight confines right now. So this makes them feel comforted.
You're replicating the intrauterine environment, keeping them nice and contained. They don't like to be free and spazzing out. They like to be nice and cuddled. And so this helps them to stay nice and cuddled. Baby sleep cycles is very, very short, so they will frequently wake up and they startle. So if they can feel themselves be contained and comforted, they're less likely to fully wake up and more likely to soothe and go back to sleep.
All right. And so you can go with the swaddle that gives you enormous sense of pride when you do it correctly, or the Halo sleep sacks, which I know are available at the hospitals. They give them out. They also have them at pretty much any store. I've seen them everywhere. So these are to make this just a little bit easier. And this was something I found so funny. It's that advice of another mom was to get something that zips from the bottom because it makes changing so much easier.
It does. That's very true.
So
I don't know why they don't make more clothing that way.
It is hard to find.
I have one sleeper that zips from the bottom, and it's the best thing ever. But most of them are all from the top, which is annoying. But it's okay.
All right, and so we've got. I assume this is a newborn one, and it's just got these little armholes. It's like a little sleep sack, okay?
So these are great because not only is it very simple, but it has instructions right on the inside, so you can't mess it up. So again, in these, it's very simple.
They have dealt with a woman who has just had a baby before.
Right, exactly. Or a dad, right?
Yes.
So, who has just had their first baby. Arms go in the armholes, very self-explanatory. Okay. Zip baby up, again from the top, so you have to put the zipper back together and zip down. Right. And then arms go down, and this side that has the instructions goes on over first. The main goal here is just to keep the baby's arms down and contained, and then the other side just comes over with the Velcro.
Okay.
And you are done.
And you're done. That's really magnificent. So that's pretty easy compared to swaddling independently.
And more importantly, a lot of the blankets you get, especially the cotton ones, are not going to be big enough once your baby gets outside of like the 8 to 9 pound range. We swaddle all our kids, but we also have blankets that my mom has made for us that are plenty big, even to swaddle like a 4 to 5 month old.
And does baby go into the crib in the swaddle?
Yes.
All right, so we'll move over and start talking about a very hot topic, which is safe sleep.
Right.
So right over here we have our standard pack and play set up, and I have to admit, Dr. Colvin yesterday said, that's great, you might want to get one with the infant sling on top. And so I went to get one, thought I had, and then we set it up, and I was like, well, that is not the one I thought I bought. I thought I got this great deal, but I did not. So pretend this has a sling on top, and that sling is useful for what reason?
It's useful for your smaller babies. So once a baby can sit up on their own, especially if they can pull to stand, you need to have something lower down. But until then, it's really mostly about your back and keeping the baby asleep when you put them down. I mean, you can easily take this baby and put them all the way down. It's just a little bit...
It's just a lot harder. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially if you just had a C-section or you just delivered a baby or things like that.
Okay, so pack and play, perfectly acceptable place for a baby to sleep for the first few months?
Any place, any contained place is a safe place for a baby to sleep, right? Okay. So as long as there's nothing in your space, I mean, it can be a drawer. The boxes are very popular now, but really, it just needs to be a space for your baby without bumpers, without lots of fluffy bedding, toys, things like that. Anywhere, as long as it is a flat, fairly firm surface, you're good.
And those bumpers are also always so cute. And I always swore, because I worked in television news for many years before this, and I always thought, that is so ridiculous. It looks so pretty. I'm not going to worry about it when I have a kid. And then I came to work here, and I am now terrified of crib bumpers, as I am a few other things. But crib bumpers increase your likelihood of SIDS or of a child suffocating in its sleep. So it's no crib bumpers, nothing fluffy, not in the bed with mom and dad.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So baby needs to be asleep on their back, in their own space, not in mom and dad's bed, and preferably, I mean, obviously if you are awake holding your baby, that is fine, but if you are asleep, the baby needs to be in the crib. Okay? And again, no fluffy blankets on the baby, no fluffy blankets under the baby.
This will keep baby perfectly warm.
Absolutely.
We will. It's definitely hard with a belly. I will say that. I would not drop a baby in there intentionally. So as far as getting a crib ready at home, you don't need the bumpers, but you do need some sheeting and things like that. So we talked a little bit about, these are waterproof mattress covers.
These are great. I mean, they aren't essential, but they're pretty close to essential, and this is just going to save your mattress from getting all of the baby stuff on it, puke, pee, poop. They do all of these things outside of their diaper, so this will save your mattress from getting really gross.
Some sheets, fitted sheets, and that's actually for the non-existent bassinet portion of this pack and play. And then this was an interesting one.
Right.
I had never heard of it, and
Right.
then you had suggested it, grabbed one, and Jenny had said, "Oh my gosh, those things are magical."
Right.
So what exactly is a sheet saver?
So a sheet saver goes over your regular sheets,
Mhm.
over your fitted sheet, and it just is the thing that the baby pukes on or pees or poops on that then goes in the washing machine, other than pulling off the entire fitted sheet. So it's really helpful. They're really great to have. I have about half a dozen of them in my house, and they're also nice because eventually you can. They have other ones that can go under your regular fitted sheet, so then you don't have to pull this off every time. If your then 2 or 3 year old has an accident overnight, that kind of thing.
Yes, because I hear those don't stop.
No.
All right.
It takes a while for that.
Any other words of wisdom you'd like to share with us, or any other questions you all have? Now is the time to. Now is your platform. Yes.
Right. I mean, I think the biggest thing is that just keep remembering that everything's going to be fine. If you have any serious burning questions, ask your pediatrician or your mother or your husband's mother, things like that. Use your resources. But people do this all the time, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, and it is incredible the resources that are available in the
Absolutely.
community as well. I think it's important to emphasize too, there are lactation support groups.
Right.
A second-time mom I was talking to not long ago who is one of the more together people I know was like, oh my gosh, I loved the support group. It was great. It was so helpful with the second baby and those things, because just because it went one way with the first doesn't mean it's going to be as
Absolutely.
smooth with the second.
Absolutely.
All right, and then I was just realizing we are in front of a whole display of the Halo Sleep Sack. So again, we're at Safety Steps, so if you need to have your car seat properly installed, or you have any questions about safety around your house, please call 314-454-KIDS and make an appointment at any of the 4 locations. And thank you, Dr. Colvin, so much with the Women in Influence program with Barnes Jewish Hospital, St. Louis Children's Hospital, and Washington University. I think we've got everybody covered in there. It's been so fantastic getting to take advantage of your knowledge today, and I now have your email address. So I think there are going to be a few more questions that pop up over the next 6 weeks that I'm going to send your way. So thank you very much for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back here next Friday at 1 o'clock.